My name is John Harrison. I'm 25 years old. I like to think of myself as the ace of the sales department. Right now, I'm working overtime, creating materials for an internal competition organized by the planning department. Thanks for the help, Bob. After saying this, Bob replied, "You owe me a drink," with a chuckle. Bob and I have been rivals since we first joined the company, always competing for the number of contracts secured. Bob, the salesman par excellence, was kind enough to offer his help.
This project is shaping up nicely. I think we might just win first prize.
I was pretty confident about this project myself. The competition presentation is a week from now. I and my boss, Director Sarah Thompson, have been chosen to represent the sales department. Director Thompson is a woman who has advanced sales skills that I admire.
Therefore, going up against Director Thompson is a bit concerning.
Bob echoed the same concern I had in my heart. Yeah, Director Thompson is so competent at her job, I might actually lose.
Don't be so timid. It's a project I've helped with, so you better get that first prize.
Laughing, I gave Bob a friendly pat on the back to show my agreement. I submitted my completed project data to Director Thompson for review. When she praised it for being well done, I became even more confident in my project. I felt bad for Director Thompson, but I was convinced that I would be the one to win the first prize. I believed it without a doubt. The day of the competition, I was to present right after Director Thompson. I was curious and excited about what kind of project she would present. Director Thompson started her presentation, and upon hearing her presentation, I was at a loss for words. The content of Director Thompson's presentation was strikingly similar to mine. This can't be happening. I was unsure of what to do next. Although Director Thompson's project was similar, it was not entirely my idea. There was also no proof that she had plagiarized my project. As soon as Director Thompson saw me, she quickly averted her gaze. I used to admire her. I was suddenly filled with despair. I couldn't possibly present a project that was so similar to Director Thompson's, but in a room full of executives, I couldn't accuse her of stealing my idea without any proof either. As expected, when I did present, being right after Director Thompson and presenting a similar project, the company's executives looked at me with suspicious eyes. That day, seeing me so down, Bob invited me for a drink. That's when I told him about Director Thompson. I couldn't believe it, but it was clear plagiarism.
What? Really? Director Thompson? She doesn't need to stoop so low.
I wish I could believe that too, but that project was mine. Bob seemed to not believe what I was saying. He might have thought it was just my sore loser attitude. Bob offered to treat me to drinks, so I drank to my heart's content. The next day, while nursing a hangover, I came to work and all my colleagues in the sales department were staring at me. Huh, what's going on? Before I could get an answer, Bob pulled me aside.
You're being suspected of plagiarism.
What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why me? Shouldn't it be Director Thompson?
You've been accused of plagiarizing Director Thompson's project proposal. It's so similar to yours. That's why you've been assigned to Warehouse 1. There's an order for your transfer.
I couldn't find the words to reply to Bob's statement. Warehouse 1? That's where the demoted ones end up. Me, there? There's no point in arguing now. It would only sound like an excuse. I don't want to stoop to making excuses. I've decided to comply with the order and transfer to Warehouse 1. I'm John Harrison, assigned to Warehouse 1 starting today. Pleased to meet you. As I introduce myself, a sparse and disinterested round of applause emerges. In Warehouse 1, inventory management is the main job. Unenthusiastic, middle-aged men are going about their work sluggishly. The only one willing to teach me is the lone woman, a part-time worker, a woman named Mary Davis who's 3 years my senior. Please, I look forward to working with you. As I bow my head, Mary studies me for a moment. Is there something on my face? When I ask, Mary looks as if she wants to say something. Could it be? Is something wrong? At my question, Mary laughs off. No, it's nothing. While silently working on warehouse duties, I occasionally converse with Mary. Mary said she enjoys simple tasks and keeps working if left alone. So, I started to remind her to take a break. When I hand her a can of coffee, she always thanks me. We spend our break times together in the warehouse's break room. Mary, why are you working part-time in a place like this? I voice my honest thoughts. It's not a judgment, but it does feel strange that she's 28 and working part-time here, especially when she seems competent. I'm intrigued why someone like her is working part-time in such a place.
I enjoy monotonous work.
With that, I couldn't question her any further. But isn't it too slow-paced here?
True, the lack of work is a downside. We're more than enough to handle everything.
Mary chuckles. Indeed, the other employees hardly seem to work. No surprise, considering this is where the demoted ones end up. I could have given into despair and quit working, but I hope to return to the sales division someday. That's what I was thinking. It's intolerable to be wrongly accused, demoted, and end up falling off the ladder. I love my job in sales.
Were you in the sales division before, John?
I nod at Mary's words. Yes, I was. But I was accused of plagiarism in a recent project competition and got demoted. There's no point in hiding it, and I'm not at fault, so I don't feel embarrassed.
Plagiarism.
In reality, I was the one whose work was plagiarized. With that, I sip my coffee. I suppose my words as a demoted employee won't be easily believed.
What does that mean? I'm curious.
At her direct question, I laugh and nod. After explaining the whole story briefly, she fell silent, her face serious. Mary, what's wrong? When I asked, Mary gave a warm smile and looked at me.
John, let's go for drinks today.
Those unexpected words surprised me, but remembering about the plagiarism incident, I was feeling like having a drink. That sounds nice. Shall we go? At my words, Mary nodded enthusiastically. After finishing work on time, Mary and I decided to have a drink at a pub near the office. Cheers, we toasted, and I gulped down my beer. What did you want to talk about? As I asked this, nibbling on some edamame, Mary said, about the plagiarism, and her face became serious. Not knowing whether it was because no one had ever listened to her before, or because she was fueled by alcohol, she became talkative and talked about that day.
So, Director Thompson stole your idea, didn't she, John?
Well, that's just my side of the story. I thought that if I had spoken up at that time, things might have been different, but Director Thompson is trusted by the people in the department. So, I figured no one would listen to what I had to say.
Don't you have any evidence that you were plagiarized?
The only evidence I have is my data, but that can be explained away as having been revised later. Nobody would ever think that the director would steal someone's idea. Mary, saying I see, took a sip of her lemon-flavored gin and tonic. Mary? At the sound of my voice, Mary made a surprised face, then quickly turned into a smile.
John, I'm sorry. I just remembered something urgent. Let's call it a night.
Caught off guard by her sudden proposal, I told her that I would stay a little longer and drink alone, and we parted ways. Honestly, I couldn't believe that Director Thompson had stolen my idea. I used to respect her as a boss. As I murmured, my smartphone vibrated suddenly. When I looked at the display, it was from Bob. Oh Bob, what's up? Bob, as usual, seemed to be concerned about me. And then, he dropped a bombshell. According to Bob, the president's daughter is working part-time at Warehouse 1. There's only one woman who works part-time, and that's Mary. That can't be true, can it? However, my words were negated. After hanging up, I was stunned for a while. Why is the president's daughter in Warehouse 1, where all the transferred staff are? And I'd been acting so casual with her, taking breaks together, even drinking with her just now, without knowing she was the president's daughter. That can't be true. Tomorrow, I'll check with Mary. Maybe Bob misunderstood something. I finished my remaining beer and decided to head home. The next day, I asked Mary directly. Mary, you're not the president's daughter, right? That's a lie, right? At my words, Mary turned around, looking surprised. Then, she opened her mouth with a smile.
Didn't I tell you? That's right. My father is the president of this company.
I was so shocked by her words that I could do nothing but stand there stunned. On my desk, there was a cardboard box and a note that said to the sales department. I let out a small groan. I guess I'm supposed to take this box to the sales department. But I don't want to go there. I was demoted from that department. I look around to see if anyone else can go instead of me. But no one would meet my gaze, leaving me feeling at a loss. Oh, where's Mary? Looking for Mary, an elderly employee told me that Mary was taking the day off. What a shock. So, with a heavy heart, I loaded the cardboard box into the car and headed for the head office. Standing in front of the head office, I let out a big sigh. I was hesitant to go to the sales department, but it was part of the job, so it couldn't be helped. With the cardboard box in my hands, I stepped into the sales department.
Up, John?
Bob called out to me, and somehow I managed to greet him with a smile. Oh, I was told to take this to the sales department. Saying that, I pushed the cardboard box onto Bob.
Wait a second, John.
As I was about to leave the office and open the door, Mary was right in front of me, which surprised me. Hup, Mary, aren't you off today?
Oh, John, good timing. Could you spare a moment?
With that, Mary smiled, and standing next to her was none other than the company president. Per president, good afternoon. Surprised, I bowed and greeted him. The president nodded with a gentle expression.
John, could you come here for a moment?
Mary grabbed my arm, and I was taken to the sales department office.
Good afternoon. Is Director Thompson here?
Mary's big, beautiful voice echoed throughout the office. Director Thompson rose from her seat with a puzzled look on her face.
I'm Director Thompson. Can I help you?
When Director Thompson saw me, she made a grim face, but as soon as she spotted the president, she bowed and said, "Good afternoon." At Director Thompson's voice, the entire sales department also bowed and greeted. The president told the other employees to continue with your work, and the atmosphere in the sales department office became tense.
I am Mary Davis, the head of the Employee Consultation Office. Director Thompson, are you aware of the plagiarism allegations against you?
My mind went blank at Mary's words. The fact that Mary was the head of the consultation office, and the fact that there were plagiarism allegations against Director Thompson. I was overwhelmed by the amount of information and fell into a state of confusion.
What? I would never do such a thing.
Director Thompson, who shouted angrily, was shifting her gaze.
We have evidence right here. We recently inspected the company computer you use.
What?
Director Thompson's face darkened.
We compared the data save history of John and your proposal's data save history. It turned out that John's idea was created first. This implies that you plagiarized his idea.
The color drained from Director Thompson's face. Mary, approaching Director Thompson's desk, picked up her laptop.
Shall we check it one more time?
Upon hearing her words, Director Thompson collapsed on the spot.
John's proposal was so good, I thought I'd lose to my subordinate if I didn't do something.
Director Thompson's voice echoed in the silent room.
So you admit to it, then? We'll inform you of the penalty at a later date.
I couldn't keep up with the rapid development, but I knew I'd regret it if I didn't speak up now. Can we at least arrange for her to stay in the sales department? The president, with a puzzled look on his face, began to speak.
Why would anyone do this? Stealing something that people have put their time and effort into creating is unacceptable in our society. It's even worse for someone who is supposed to be a mentor to employees. You must be upset too, right?
Indeed, I was upset, but I wondered if Director Thompson ended up demoted like me, would she quit her job? Sure, I'm frustrated that the award was stolen from me, and I'm not completely forgiving for the humiliation. But I don't want Director Thompson to quit her job in sales. So, can't you stay in sales as you are? Isn't it punishment enough for Director Thompson to work in this sales department while facing the reality that she plagiarized? After a little thought, the president said, "All right," and decided to put off the punishment. Director Thompson apologized to me in tears. Director Thompson, it's all in the past. Let's start over. At my words, Director Thompson started crying even more, and I was at a loss. Everyone in the sales department seemed unable to keep up with the sudden developments. They were dumbfounded.
John, shall we head home for now?
Mary suggested, and we left the sales department together. Thank you, Mary. Let me treat you to lunch by thanking you. With that, Mary said, "Well, I won't be shy," and laughed, and we went into a nearby cafe. After finishing lunch, on our way to the car, a gust of wind blew up Mary's skirt. I spotted a burn scar on Mary's slender leg, and I recognized the scar. I remember, in middle school, there was a fire and I rescued a high school girl who went into the flames to save a cat that couldn't escape in time. At that time, the high school girl had burns on her leg, and I had burns on my arm. Mary, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but didn't you go into a burning house to save a cat when you were in high school? Hearing my words, Mary chuckled.
You're slow to notice.
Eh? I blinked at Mary's words. Mary, did you know it was me?
I noticed the first time we went. It's terrible to forget, especially when remembering people's faces is part of our job in sales.
I was drawn to Mary's innocent laughter and laughed along. I never thought we would meet again like this. Mary nodded at my words.
You haven't changed at all, John. You've always been impulsive.
Feeling a little teased, I responded in annoyance. You're just as impulsive, Mary. Going into a fire to save a cat. We both burst out laughing at each other's words. You never know where fate will take you. A week later, the decision was made to demote Director Thompson and reduce her salary. Just as I had hoped, there was no transfer from the sales department. Hearing this, I let out a sigh of relief. As for me, I was able to return to the sales department and I'm passionately dedicated to my work. And, thanks to a past connection, my relationship with Mary has grown much closer, and we are now dating. Mary is strong-willed and has strong sense of justice, and I like that about her. There have been times when I was disappointed after being betrayed by someone I respected. But I was once again reminded that life is not to be discarded. If I hadn't been demoted, I wouldn't have met Mary. I am committed to my work and my relationship with her and plan to keep striving for success.